going to be fascinating to see. It really is. It's going to be really, really interesting to see the way the Blazers play this because it's their move next.
It is a real question when it comes to Lillard. A lot of wear and tear, and he has been so awesome for so long. And the fact that it's not like you get him on some kind of bargain at a lesser version than what you've got right now. You're going to get about, what would you say? I'd say conservatively 3 years. Right?
I don't know.
Maybe that's liberally 3 years, you know? I mean, you probably got at least 2 more of him being amazing.
I don't know because remember, not this season, but last season when he was dealing with that abdomen injury. You and I talked about it all year long. He stunk during the Olympics. They said, oh, it's an ab injury. Yeah. Then during the season, it was the worst season of his career. And we were talking, is this the beginning of the end of Damian Lillard? But then he got the surgery and he came back and he had the best individual season of his entire career. You can say his 18-19 season was better. You know, the year they go to the Western Conference Finals, you can say he had better peaks. But I would argue individually last year was his best. He career high in points per game, career high in scoring efficiency. He was far more active off ball than he was the 4 prior years when he said that he was dealing with that injury for 4 years. And that sometimes after games, it would balloon up the size of like a golf ball. And I think with Lillard, even though he's 33 right now, and even though, yes, he'll be getting paid $63 million when he's 36 years old, it's absurd. But he also just had the best season of his career. And we're seeing some other guys age so gracefully. Stephen Curry at 35, LeBron James into his late 30s. With Dame and a bunch of players around the NBA right now, this isn't James Harden partying, drinking, not working out as hard. Damian Lillard is a consummate professional. And if you're betting on anybody to sustain success into their mid to late 30s, to me, Damian Lillard is a guy that you would be betting on, especially considering the year he just had.
Last year, I believe it was just last season. He had, I thought, the best game that I saw in person last season of any player. I watched him score. He had 42 with 10 assists and 8 rebounds and just absolutely, completely dominated a game that I was at in Memphis. And of all the players that came through every game that I went to, he was the best player I saw last year. It was crazy. It was during that run. He had like a month where he averaged almost 40 points a game. He was carrying them every night. And it was in the middle of that. And he just went absolutely nuclear. And I was like, my God, like there is no stopping this guy. You have no chance. He was just on a heater for like a whole month. He was the best player in the league. And so, yeah, I think you make
Chris,
a reasonable
just to put
point.
The numbers behind that, Chris, this is the game he scored 50 points. It was January 12th. Over the next 25 games, including that game he scored 50, he averaged 37.8 points per game, 7.2 assists. He shot 39.3% on 11.9 threes per game. I mean, the dude was unstoppable.
It was crazy
for a time there. Yeah.
I mean, they tried everything and everybody on him, and there was no chance.
And it didn't matter. And that's why for the Heat, if they get Damian Lillard, they're right there with the Bucks and the Celtics.
Of course.
And obviously, they just beat those two teams. I would argue that on paper, the Bucks with a healthy Giannis, a healthy Middleton, could still be better than the Heat. I could argue that the Celtics with a healthy Kristaps Porzingis and more progress from Tatum and Brown as they've been on every year of their careers so far could be better than the Heat. However, the Heat would be right there with Damian Lillard, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. Like Bam Adebayo could level up playing with a guard like Damian Lillard, and Damian Lillard himself dribble handoff actions with Bam Adebayo that could be unstoppable in the half court, those two together. It could be absolutely unstoppable.
Oh,
So
and I
for the
love
Heat,
the three. I love the three guys together. It's just right? The guard, the wing, the big. Yeah, but also just the way it fits, because you just got to fill in two spots. That's it. Really.
It does fit. There's a balance to that Heat roster that they would have, that they would really have, that Bucks and Celtics don't, because they don't have that kind of guard that Damian Lillard is. So, I mean, like, Miami would become right there with those teams. They'd probably be considered in a lot of people's eyes the finals favorite in the Eastern Conference. But for the Blazers, on the other side of that, the offer right now is just not good, which is why we're talking about them finding a third or fourth team in the deal. Tyler Hero is redundant with Shaedon Sharpe, with Anthony Simons. He doesn't fit that Blazers roster. So where does he land? Is it San Antonio? The Spurs still have a ton of cap space where they can absorb big money. Is it the Brooklyn Nets? They've been rumored as a team that could fit Tyler Hero into their situation. But if you are taking on Tyler Hero, what exactly is that other team going to be giving up for Hero? Because as good as Hero is at 23 years old, as a sixth man of the year, as a guy that's averaged 20 points per game 2 years in a row, he's also, besides the bubble his rookie year, been terrible in the postseason. He's a liability on defense, and his progress as a playmaker has been solid, but he doesn't look like a primary guy necessarily. So I just wonder what is another team going to give up that is going to make that offer acceptable for the Blazers this month, as opposed to dragging this out into August, maybe longer, and then seeing who else might step up over the course of time, or if Dame adds more teams to his list. It's going to be fascinating to see. It really is. It's going to be really, really interesting to see the way the Blazers play this, because it's their move next.
Yeah, I do think Hero has real value, though. I do think he has.
He's a good player. He's good.
Yeah, he's sixth man of the year in the NBA. That's all. Anybody that wins sixth man of the year.
He's a good player.
Right, but
he's a good player.
But can he be? He's not the best player in the Dame trade. That's where we are. He's just not. No. I guess not unless you're adding just a bunch of picks.
Which they're not.
And that would include your guy, who you just mentioned, Jaquez, and so that would take 30 days, and others. Because, yes, there would have to be other picks involved in that. There just has to. In the end, who was the best player that was involved in the Mitchell deal? Markkanen? We didn't feel about Markkanen. Yeah. It turned out to be. You do wonder, Tyler Hero's still really young, Kev.
I know, he's 23.
He's still really
good
young.
Player. But the thing is, in that Mitchell deal, it wasn't just Markkanen and 2 firsts and a swap. It was Markkanen and a guy who was just drafted in the lottery and 5 more future first-round draft picks.
I know.
Not just Markkanen 2 firsts. That's the big difference between these situations.
Yeah. So you'd have to wrangle some more picks and stuff.
And by the way, Lillard is better and more proven than Mitchell as well, despite him being older, despite him having the bigger contract. That's just the reality of it.
I think we agree on this. I know it's his preferred destination. I know they probably want to do right by him and not send him to somewhere that he doesn't want to be. That being said, Miami has to rope in more than what they can just themselves offer in order to make that happen. And they might be able to. It's Pat Riley. They might be able to rope in more.